All right. Hello, everyone. And welcome to Next Gen Lodging. My name is Davon Reeves, one of your co-hosts. I'm one third of Next Gen Lodging. It's also Amari Head, who is a director at Paramount Lodging Advisors, hotel broker. And then we have Christopher Henry. He is not with, his company is Majestic Hospitality CEO. And in my free time, I am the CEO and founder of Vestor, which is a crowdfunding platform for commercial real estate, including hotel, as well as president and founder of the Vine Group, which is a consulting firm, and co-owner of 3 hotels across 2 different states. And so I do want to say happy Women's History Month to all of my fabulous and every year we do a women's special where it's just all women. And I had to hold it down for us ladies because I'm the only girl on Next Gen Lodging. So we're going to go ahead and get this party started off right. So Amanda, please feel free to go ahead and introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are.
I'm happy to. First of all, let me say you always hold it down for the women, and I'm just happy that we have other women here who are in the hospitality space and who are doing great things like Davon and Amy. So happy to be here. I am Amanda Chivers, and I am the managing principal of Crown Hospitality Consulting. We are a boutique hotel asset management firm based in Atlanta. This year, actually, we are celebrating 10 years in business. Believe it or not, it goes by so quickly. I know. My background in general, I've been in the hotel industry now for 19 years. So yeah, amazing. And started off actually in multifamily, doing feasibility studies and market analysis in Houston with a company called Citus. And then later transitioned into hospitality after I had my children, after I got married and had kids. I couldn't travel as much and became the director of acquisitions with Moody National Companies in Houston. We grew that hotel portfolio to over 60 plus hotels in premium branded hotels throughout the U.S. When I first joined, they had about 16 hotels in their portfolio, closed over $1 billion in hotel assets, and then later moved from Houston to Atlanta and worked with Trimont Real Estate Advisors. That was after Lehman had collapsed. And so I was doing a lot of hotel workouts and restructures of hotel loans and deals. And then later in 2015, I was blessed literally by God. I got a call from a previous client that said, would you like to work with an old client on a project? And I was like, absolutely, yes, let's do it. And that led to Crown Hospitality Consulting. I didn't have a website. I didn't have a business card. I didn't have a plan. I don't recommend that. That's not a recommendation, but it started organically is the point. And here we are 10 years later. We focus primarily on private equity groups who like to deploy funds into hospitality assets with a strategic goal and plan, either to do value add projects or rebrand conversions or new, construction development from the ground up. So we will work with them on their strategic plan. We will help them to execute. We will bring in all the partners and basically quarterback the deal for them from soup to nuts. So beginning to end. And we've gone full cycle with a couple of different deals and making sure, we specialize in making sure that we have a personal touch and that we are 100% client-centric. So we do not compete with our clients. We do not invest alongside of our clients, nor do we, compete in markets with our clients. 100% client-focused. And I think that's been a big part of our success. So happy to be here.
Amazing. Amy, it's all yours.
Well, it's so great to meet you, Amanda, and amazing to hear your story. I think we do have some parallels just in those, like the shifts that we made and how we do, no matter what, we always end up like using these benchmarks in our career, like using sort of motherhood as sort of this turning point in our career and taking different shifts. I'm Amy Draheim. I am the founder of ABD Creative. Similar to Amanda, I think my career sort of shifted when I did sort of stop and decide that I wanted to have a family and kind of what that meant and how my career would sort of take shape from there. So I started ABD Creative in 2017. Before that, I was working for a small hotel group as the director of marketing for their whole portfolio of hotels from coast to coast. In 2017, I did struggle to conceive and ultimately decided to step away from that company. And then organically, similar to you, Amanda, some people that I did good work for reached out and said, Amy, I heard you left here. You're out on your own. Do you want to start doing some work for me? And so ABD really started organically in that way too. And then just through word of mouth and referrals, I basically became the hotel marketing agency of record for many independent hotels from coast to coast. In recent years, I've built up my team. So we now have 3 employees. We're actually hiring a 4th. So if anybody listening is interested in a career as a hotel marketing manager for multiple hotels, get in touch. And now our services include not just ongoing marketing services for independent hotels, but also marketing launch. So I think one of the most exciting things I've done in the last year is work hand in hand with hospitality groups who are trying to open new independent hotels and really working to define their marketing strategy, and then having my team come in to support that all the way through. So once we open our doors, my team is there to continue that marketing strategy through email, through social media, through content shoots. I love what I do. You can probably tell I'm sort of obsessed with it. So yeah, I'm excited to talk today. Davon, thank you so much for having me. And Amanda, it's so great to meet you.
Well, I'm just a fan of both of you. I think, Amy, I was on your podcast, a couple years ago.
2020.
And during the pandemic. So have we ever met in person, Amy?
It's weird that we have not. I wish I could come see you at a conference. I don't want to date this podcast episode, but it's difficult to travel with kids. Like, let's just get that out of the way. And so I tend to limit the travel that I do to working with my hotel clients and going on site with them. So I'll try to do one conference a year. I'll try to line it up with you so I can come see you.
Yeah, I got to come over there. Yeah, because you're based out of California, right?
Oregon.
Oregon. That's right. Oregon, West Coast. Yeah. Well, I need to visit all 50 states. I have to add Oregon. Oregon is automatically on the list. So I was running late today because I was being a mom. And I was dropping off my son. He's in coding. And I'm just like, then there's traffic. And I'm like, come on. And then right after this episode, he's in track. And so look, I'm just looking at Amanda smiling because she's like, those days are over. So let's just jump into it. We're all moms here. How is it? And I'm sure every time you do a panel, this discussion kind of comes up, or this question may come up. How do you handle work-life balance and being a mom? I'll start with you first, Amy.
Okay. I'm not sure I handle it well. I try to handle it.
Thank you for being honest.
Yeah. It's really tough. I always say, I wish I had 28 hours in a day. I wish I had more time to be with my kids. I wish I had more time to work because I love it. I love my kids too. That goes without saying. And I wish I had more time to sleep. One of those 3 things I think always has to give every day, especially as a founder. And so it is really hard. One amazing thing about the work I do is that I get to do it from Bend, Oregon, as we were just saying. And I work in this quiet, peaceful place. My kids are now school age. So they're both, one's in preschool, one's in elementary school. And so I have sort of carved out this space where I can have this really exciting, demanding, challenging job, but I do get to work from home. So that gives me a little bit of balance. Of course, it's assumed that right now I'm also doing the laundry and ordering the groceries and doing the work, and here on this podcast. But somehow I juggle it and just take it one day at a time. Amanda, give us your wisdom.
Yeah.
I love this topic. Davon knows this. I'm going to start where I am today and go backwards, because now I am an empty nester. So my children left. They're in their freshman year of college. I got one at FAMU and one at Valdosta State, and they're doing phenomenal. And it makes me feel proud as a mom that I got through it, that I got to where I am today. Because Davon knows I've called her and we've had our conversations where I'm like, tell me again. I'm great. Yes, really? Okay. I can do this and, pull myself together. But the truth is, you cannot be everything to everybody all the time. And you just have to, come to terms with that. And Davon knows this as well. I went through a divorce. I became a single parent. I was raising 2 boys. I was at every track meet, every football game, football practices in the morning, making phone calls in the car. I like Sarah Blakely. She was my hero when I was going through it, because there was one post that she did where she was literally like riding on her leg in the car with the kids in the back and like taking phone calls from her closet, when the kids were home, to try to find a quiet place. It's just a reality as a mom raising kids. And the best thing you can do is do exactly what you are doing and be there for your kids, because that's the one thing that I have that I look back on today, and my kids love it too. They're like, Mom, you were at every game. You were at every track meet. Like, I don't know how you did that and ran a business. And my clients, I just did the very best that I could as far as scheduling and making sure that I wasn't, dropping any of the balls, but you're juggling. That's the best thing you could say. And just know it won't last forever. Keep a great attitude. Don't be afraid to laugh at yourself and give yourself grace, because you're just a human being. At the end of the day, the work will always be there and there will always be more of it. Praise God. We're thankful for the work, and that was one of the reasons why I shifted into creating a business where I could work from home and be at home and be present in my children's lives. So thank God for that, but I would not trade it for the world. I wouldn't have done anything differently.
I have a question now. As far as mental space, I think the conversation about taking care of your mental self is becoming more of the front. Before it was like taboo, right? Like, how dare you take a break? Like, how dare you, because even I was saying, I need, my son, he goes with some family members maybe about 2 weeks out of the year. And one of my really good friends was like, I never did that. Like, she was like, you don't have to do that. I don't know about you, but I need a break. Okay. Now, what do you all do? Do you all think it's important from a mental standpoint? Because all of us are founders, right? All of us are bosses. We running companies, running other folks' business when it comes to hotels, which is a very complicated and stressful business. How do you all handle yourself mentally? That's important that I want to make sure that we talk about, and it's not taboo to talk about it. So, Mandy, you want to go first?
Sure. I'm glad that it is no longer taboo to talk about it. So again, I've been in this game, as they say, for some time, and it was not always the case. When my kids were young, I had to bring my kids to the office when I was closing those, $1 billion deals and had deals lined up in the office, and my kids were barely able to walk, And so I had to have a nanny, and I had to have somebody to help me manage that process. But where I am today, it's completely different. If you say you need a mental health day, you need to take a break, you just need to go walk in the middle of the day, or you just need someone else to take the kids so that you can have peace and quiet. I remember coming home from work and just closing my door and having a glass of wine and having to, decompress from the day. You're human. That is 100% okay. And I'm glad, Davon, that you started this question by saying that we run businesses, because every woman does not. And so everyone does not have the same workload and pressure and responsibility that we have. We are, very different in that regard, right? So of course we have tremendous responsibility. And the number one responsibility is taking care of yourself. Because if something happens to you, your children, your clients, your business, all of that is going to go by the wayside. So your number one responsibility is to yourself.
Amy, what about you?
That's such good advice. And I feel like I'm here today to have Amanda just speak right into my soul with that. I do take some time to myself. One thing I do is like this really intense Pilates thing called Legree. It's like the hardest crazy reformer workout that basically it's so complicated and there's so many pulleys and things that it forces me to be present and not think about work, not think about my kids. I have 50 minutes with a teacher I really love and other women around me that are doing basically the same thing. And I get to get sort of that little bit of an adrenaline rush and my head clear to be able to come back to my desk and succeed. Sometimes that does feel a little bit like a hamster wheel, and as it starts to get warm and nice here, since it's very seasonal here, I will start to go outside and take walks and things like that as well. I think for me, that like physical activity is that piece that feels like it's a counterbalance to being at my desk and being on calls a lot of the day. And then travel, right? We love this. There's a reason that we're all in this industry. I love travel. I love staying at hotels. I really enjoy that. So carving out those trips with my sisters or my friends or my husband, like I will, and I say it like, be selfish to have those moments to myself as well. So
It's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong. Someone I remember coming up in this space, they like, you need to start being selfish. I'm like, wait, what? My dad used to say it all the time. He's not with us anymore. And now I get why he said that. Like, it's okay to say no. Now, getting into, you mentioned all of us, we have one thing in common that we all love, breathe, sleep, dream, talk about probably every day. Hotels.
Yeah.
Right. So, Amanda, you are probably one of the few women asset managers, definitely one of the few Black hotel asset managers. And Amy, you're very unique because you are a marketing expert for independent hotels, and I'm sure one of the few. Well, it's starting to become more and more women in marketing. Correct? I'm starting to see more and more women faces.
I think marketing, it's like one of those roles like HR, marketing, PR. Those are like the women roles,
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it is what it is.
I love it. I'm here for it. Now going back to you, Amanda, when it comes to asset management and hotel asset management, it can be very, very, very complicated, right? It can be very strategic. It can be fun. It can be hard for folks to understand that they need it because you're a third party hotel asset manager. And so basically, for those who don't know what that means, Amanda is like an owner's rep, right? She's basically coming in for the folks who don't have time, and they may find someone like Amy, right? She'll find someone that'll help you basically optimize your revenue and decrease profits, right? So, and Crown Hospitality. Now, tell folks, why did you call it Crown Hospitality?
Oh my goodness, Davon, hit me right in the middle of my heart. Okay. I didn't even realize it when I created that name, Crown Hospitality, and our tagline was always going to be building your kingdom. But it's both a secular and a spiritual meaning in that, I'm a Christian background. And so our focus, like I said, is very much client-centric, and we're focused on custom solutions for our clients, again, 100% focused on them, and we don't compete. And so we always want to make sure that we're focused on whatever their strategy is and building their strategy and ultimately satisfying their stakeholders, right? But in the non-secular Christian world, it's more so about giving back and more so about building God's kingdom. So I've always had a commitment to also doing things for the community and people. My focus is, loving God and loving people, which fits right in line with hospitality. This is a people business at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. So I try to find ways to incorporate my personal ministry and my personal values into the projects that I work on, which is what gives me a lot of fulfillment beyond just seeing a project come to completion. We're creating spaces where people get married, and we will forever be a part of their story, and we're creating spaces where people come on vacation with their families. Some people who hadn't seen them for years after COVID, right? Like, you want to have memorable moments with your team as well as the people that are coming through, the doors of the hotel. So that is why Crown Hospitality is Crown Hospitality. It will never change. The name will never change. The tagline will never change. So
now, she mentioned something, the key word that I'm sure resonated with you. And anytime I think of marketing, more and more, I think of storytelling, right? And so, Amy, you do something that I think is unique. I'm a brand person, right? Um, I'm not an independent. I'm not that creative enough to even think of buying or developing. That makes my head hurt. If somebody was like, "Devon, what color should we use?" That is too much. Too much. Now, Amy, but that's where you thrive because that's who you are. Those are your clients, those are your people. That's your tribe, our independent hoteliers. So can you talk a little bit about that space and why you didn't go with the brands? Why aren't you with the brands? Why are you with independent?
Well, I just want to comment on what Amanda was saying. I do feel like hotels a hotel stay can be almost like a sacred experience, right? It's this thing that whatever happens, you're going to have a memory from it and you're going to hold on to that. And if you're creating a tradition, I do think there's something very sacred about that. As very busy women, like having that time to ourselves that we just talked about, carving out that time and being selfish. Like there is something so sacred to me about a night in a independent hotel. So I love what you're saying there, and that definitely resonates with me. And when it comes to storytelling, like you're saying, people have their weddings here. Part of their narrative is within these walls of the hotel, and then I think when it comes to like brands versus independence, I totally respect brands and what they do and the technology that comes along with that and the safety that comes along with having a brand and brand recognition, having the booking engine, having that support and things like that. But I fell in love with independence. I mean, it's just the world that I knew. And because my background is in creative writing. Before I was a marketer, I was a writer, an author. I wrote a novel about my college dating experience, of all things. But I think there's something about
like, I want to know.
What?
How you gonna drop that and just not gonna tell the name and like shoot,
Yeah, I mean, it's a different time in my life. Like,
you don't want to share it. I understand.
It's okay. No. It's called Jenny Green's Killer Junior Year. It's still available on Amazon. I thought I was going to be an author, but my dad begged me to get into marketing, get into something that was more consistent, and I'm able to sort of funnel all that creativity and my writing like prowess into writing for hotels. So if I was writing for a brand, I could only talk about so much. When I'm writing for an independent, it's like we have these unique restaurants and bars. We have menus that are sourced locally. We have artists whose paintings like adorn the rooms. We have partnerships with local female entrepreneurs. For instance, in Colorado with the hotel that I work at, it's like we have the local jazz curator every Thursday night is bringing a live jazz band into our lobby. So there are certain things that brands I feel like limit, where indies get to thrive and play in this really cool space. And it gives me 1,000 things to talk about and market. And the challenge for me is deciding which stories do I want to tell, which stories are going to resonate with my audience in a particular town or city, and then getting to tell that story visually on social media and through words and email marketing and on the website and things like that. And then partnering locally with a DMO or something like that who also wants to share and promote their destination. So it becomes this really cool win-win. That's why I love indies.
Now, Amanda, going back to you being an asset manager in a white male dominated field. I used to be in that field when I used to work at CH and Warner. So shout out to CH and Warner. How is that? Like, how is that being a woman? Well, for one, hotel, the ownership side is already predominantly male. And then getting into asset manager, which is even a smaller subset of the transactional side. How has it been being a woman?
You're hitting a few different things there. Okay, let me first say, tagging off of Amy, I love that you get to bring your creativity and your opportunity to curate experiences into what you do every day. Like that is what makes hotels and hospitality in this field so fulfilling. And so going into asset management, I used to feel different, right? Because I was, as an African-American woman in a male-dominated industry, things were definitely still a little more different, call it 20 years ago, than where they are today. But now I have embraced just being different in my authenticity and what I bring to the table. And that difference actually has now become, as you say, like your superpower. You know, when I come to an asset management project, I'm a big collaborator. And so here's a secret: you don't have to have all the answers. Okay. Your team also has so much information. Some people have been at these properties for, 10, 15 years, and that's just historical information. They know these local vendors, artisans, that you can curate special experiences and bring that into what you're offering at your property, which is invaluable. That is what ultimately your guests want, right? And the owners want something different and unique that they can offer to the guests, right? So when I work with an owner and I say, I'm going to give you a personal touch, I'm going to be 100% focused on you. You're my client. You tell me what your strategic goals are, where you want to land 5 years, 7 years from now, how much you have to invest, what you want it to look and feel like when someone crosses over the threshold. And I'm going to help you execute, and I'm going to make it happen, That is my superpower, right? I, as a woman, naturally, we tend to be better listeners. We tend to empathize with people when we engage with people. We tend to see a person beyond the facade and what comes out of their mouth. We can read between the lines and interpret, what is not being said, right? So oftentimes we can tell someone what they want despite what they told us, they didn't want. Like, we're like, I know that's what you said. This is what I think that you really need and what you really want. Let me just show you, you're going to love it. Right. And that's what we do as women. And so when you have an opportunity, as you said, to be creative and to curate in those spaces, and you work collaboratively with your team and they bring forth their ideas, you really can have a synergy and do something great that everyone benefits from: the owner, the operator, the guests, everyone. It's a win-win-win.
Yes.
Now, Amy, what about you? Now, because even though there's a lot of women in marketing and in PR, there's not a lot of women hotel owners, and you work directly with the owners, I'm assuming, or directly with the director of marketing or someone in a key position. How is that for you, being a woman, being that your clients are mostly male, I'm assuming?
Yeah. I have to say, it is rare for me to get to work with like a female general manager who will often be my point person. When I do get to work with them, I feel like not only are we great coworkers and collaborators, but we just like have this kinship. And it's like, you're absolutely right, Amanda. It's like the intuition can take you so far, being able to read the person across the Zoom screen from you, and understand their wants and needs and what they're trying to say, and then being able to go and build that for them and have that revenue to back it up. I love working with women in general manager roles. There are quite a few women too that are like the director of sales and marketing, and that'll end up being my point person sometimes when the GM is tied up in too much operations, or there isn't always a director of sales and marketing, but a big enough hotel there will be. I love working with women. I don't always get to. The field is definitely white male dominated, and I don't want to say anything negative, but you end up with a lot of cookie cutter things that look the same. And I think that when there is more diversity of voices on the team, when we women are able to have a seat at the table and confident or courageous, sadly enough, to speak up and speak our ideas and speak that intuition, like that we can plainly see because of our years of experience backing up these creative ideas that we're bringing, it's like, that's when really amazing things happen. And sometimes I get nervous. When I started doing the marketing launch, not just the execution last year, I was so nervous. And like, that's how I knew this was really important, that they offered me a seat at the table. And then I took that, and then I sat there, even as much as I was questioning whether I deserved to be there, I did, and I blew them away. And now I'm doing 10 times more of those things. So I think just carving out that spot for ourselves and then bringing our team to join us, bringing, people together, like this conversation, who knows where this conversation will lead for all of us. I think it's just so valuable. So I don't know. That was a tangent a little bit.
No. It was needed. And I love how y'all both said, collaboration, right? Which I see that a lot. I love working with women too. It's pretty cool. A lot of time I'm like the only woman in the crew. Gotta hold it down. And it's just, we bring that balance. We sometimes there's not a lot of ego involved. Uh, and, going back to the listening and I've noticed since I'm like the only one, I get a lot of when they need to vent or maybe something that they don't feel comfortable sharing with their male counterparts. I get it. And I have to listen. And I'm like, I become a therapist. I'm like, how did that happen? But
Yeah.
it helps. And I'm like, okay, clearly.
Therapist.
Yeah. And then a lot of times they don't listen to me. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. And then circle back around.
Do you ever have to make them think it's their idea? I use that
I do have to do that sometimes. But then I'll throw it in their face. Oh no, who idea was that? Didn't I say that? Well, thank you. Okay. Thank you. My point. Oh, But you won't listen to me. We would have saved a whole bunch of money. But anyway.
And time,
I digress. But anyway, so no, I just want to thank you all ladies so much for being a part of this conversation. I hate that it's ending, but
my goodness, it was so fast.
It moves so fast. I mean, just knowing you both is a fresh air. And Amy, one day we're going to meet in person.
I know.
I mean, I see you all the time. And Amanda's definitely been one of my mentors in the industry who, is not a lot of women who look like me or not a lot of women in the space or the transactional side. So I've called her numerous of days, numerous of nights, crying and
goes both ways.
And just being there, and she's always just been professional and just reminding me who I am as a person and reminding me how I'm favored. So for the folks who are religious, for the folks who are not, I am, but very spiritual. And so Amanda and I, we have that spiritual connection where we can share and we can talk about that. And it's a safe space to really talk about anything in our friendship. It hasn't just been professional. Now it's become personal, and she's one of my really good dear friends. And so I'm glad that you had to give you a shout out. So I'm just glad that you all, took the time. Amy, we haven't met in person, but when we do connect, I just love you have a good spirit. You have a good energy about you. And it's crazy because I haven't even met you in person.
I know.
I can still feel your energy, and I can still feel the good vibes. And so I'm just thankful for you all. Please let everyone know how they can connect with you, how they can find you. Amy, how can folks find you?
Let's see. You can find me on LinkedIn. My name, Amy Draheim. You can find my team, my company on social media. It's abd.creative. On Instagram, we try to keep it light, but also do speak a bit about hotel marketing strategy and things like that. And drop me a line, say hi. And again, if anybody is looking for a marketing manager role to do marketing for multiple hotels, please get in touch.
I love it. Amanda, how can folks find you?
Likewise, you can look me up on LinkedIn via my name or our website, crown-hospitality.com. We're also on Instagram as well. If you want to send an email at connect@crown-hospitality.com. And likewise, Davon knows, like she mentioned, you need a counselor, you need a coach, you need a cheerleader, technically an asset manager. That's what all those things are. Then hit me up, DM me, and look forward to speaking with you.
Thank you all so much. And to all of my fellow women who are listening, happy Women's History Month. And to my men who are listening, thank you for supporting. Thank you for being our allies. We love you too, men. But this month is for the ladies, okay? All right. So thank you all so much. And we will see you all next month for our Next Gen in Lodging podcast episode. You can find us where you listen to your podcast.
Hi, I'm STR's Isaac Colazo.
And I'm co-stars Jan Freitag. And together we are the data geeks behind Tell Me More, a hospitality data podcast on the Hotel News Now podcast network.
Every month, we bring you a fresh take on the latest hotel data, insights into the travel trends behind that performance, and the big picture topics you should be thinking about.
And we also don't mind getting into some good-natured disagreement from time to time. Hey, when Isaac and I start talking data together, anything can happen. And it usually does.
Find us on hotelnewsnow.com and subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you like to listen. Search for Hotel News Now, and thank you for listening.
This episode of Next Gen in Lodging was recorded in March of 2025 by Davon Reeves and edited by Rachel Daub. Look for this podcast and more at hotelnewsnow.com or wherever you'd like to listen to podcasts.